What could you achieve if you stop pouring energy into things that drain you and focused on what really matters? Burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much of the wrong thing. So if you're anything like me and you want to recalibrate your life to align with your purpose, rather than being overwhelmed or burnt out, you're consistently reinvigorated by the efficiency and the effectiveness of your best effort, then I'm sure that we'll both walk away with some important strategies that we'll be able to apply right away to the things that we're trying to do. If you don't know, my name is Chad Joshua, and I'm working my way through writing a 100-song catalog. I write songs about populism and freedom and liberty, and this is my artist channel, which I use to promote those songs. In my free time, I like to have these chats about things that we can do and apply to our efforts to ensure that we're making the best go of it, regardless to what it is that you're trying to do. In regard to my own effort with writing all of these songs and the constantness of creating something new and working through a steep learning curve of all the things that go into that, watching other people all around me promote themselves and expand their reach, and dealing with my own challenges and struggles that I have to navigate. And I have found that there can be great big giant highs and great big giant lows. You know, you work so hard to get something completed and you feel so ecstatic that you did, and you feel relieved, and you feel this validation that you see upon yourself for having had seen it through and completed a task. And then you immediately hit with the reality that you still don't have the exact reach that you need in order to really feel a sense of momentum. And you only have to go in now and find a new project, or in my case, the next song, when the last one is just still hot out of the oven. So after you do this for a while, and you expend so much energy and so much enthusiasm in your pursuit, you don't get a certain feedback that you're looking for. And then even you're measuring in the outside concerns that you have, you know, regarding your life in its entirety, and like how much time can you invest into something and what it is you're doing. And it's a risk and it's a gamble of sorts, because, you know, everything comes at the expense of something else. And so while you're pursuing what it is you're doing, you're not pursuing the other thing. And who's to say that the other thing, while it might not be exactly what you want to do, who's to say that that other thing couldn't provide for you a little better in the long run? So there's a constant barrage of attacks on your psyche as you're trying to do something and wade through the difficulties of that, while you will yourself into the stick-to-itiveness that you need in order to maintain the course, only to find out that yet still you don't have the results that you were hoping for, and yet still you don't have enough of a response wherein to take any new momentum out of that. So even now for me, after spending a few months on a hunch that I wanted to investigate whether or not it would have a potential to increase my reach or not, I have started to come to the conclusion that it may not pay a dividend that will have warranted the effort. So immediately then you can hit a wall where you're starting to feel burned out. In that kind of a case, and I would be lying if I didn't acknowledge that. I would be certainly less than honest if I didn't say that my own lack of understanding in terms of how to best spend my time in regards to my own interest was a source of an exhaustion in its own self. So I have all of that. And I'm sure that with whatever it is that you're doing, you can relate. You know, we all go about to the task of building whatever it is that is important to us, and we certainly walk out on a limb to do that. So I'm sure that no matter what it is, there's days for all of us where we question all sorts of decisions or positions that we've taken, just in that we all want to become as effective as possible. And I think that that's what success is primarily. It's that idea of being as effective as we can in a circumstance. So that all said, I'm very interested in this metaphor of burnout being something as akin to having to doing a realignment on the wheels of the car. If we don't do it, we're going to continue to veer off in the wrong direction. We're going to ride the tires down irregularly. Worst case, have some kind of a blowout completely. And that brings up the next big question, and that's how exactly would your life look if you were able to work with clarity and purpose instead of pressure? And I say that because if we think of burnout as something that's a result of being misaligned rather than just tired, maybe it's due in part to spending time and energy on tasks that don't support our goals. Another area is the overcommitment. There's times when we say yes to too much without assessing what it's actually going to take from us in order to see that through. We can also have problems from neglecting rest, failing to reflect, and ignoring the need to recharge. All of that leads to exhaustion. You know, since I got very serious about this, all of my hobbies and the things that I like to do if I had free time, well, to be fair, they did waste a lot of time. Certain things were generally relaxing, have become very hard to enjoy now. Feel the pressure because I've gotten older and I see the window to do the things that I'd like to do narrowing. And I couldn't see that before. I couldn't see it clearly. Now I do. So it's almost as if every minute I'm either doing something that I feel like I need to be doing, I'm investigating something I feel like I need to investigate. And in the rare circumstance where I sit down to do nothing, I'm thinking to myself, why am I sitting here doing nothing when I should be doing something? So I'm at the sort of pressure cooker point where I'm not getting any satisfaction out of anything that should be relaxing. But here we are. I did listen to a guy, an older man today. Sorry that I don't remember his name, but he was just talking about this same sort of thing in a reflective sort of sense, offering advice to people that may be in the stage of life that I'm in now. Basically saying that this is the point where you figure out how exactly hard life is. And I heard what he was saying and I felt like, yeah, so then now what? Because when you start to see emotional, physical fatigue, there's a loss of enthusiasm and loss of motivation, or find yourself feeling stuck even while keeping a busy schedule. If it is that that's what you're experiencing, or that's what I'm experiencing, I don't suppose that it's something that we should perceive as failure. Feeling that way doesn't mean that you failed, but it could be that it's a signal that we need to realign and refocus our energy. Because sometimes the things that we are doing feel like we're on a treadmill running at full speed and getting nowhere. So how about it? What's something that you're doing that you felt was important to your overall trajectory, but now you're realizing that has become a big drain on your energy? And how would your mindset change if you could just replace all that exhaustion with excitement for what's coming next? In order to realign anything, it starts with making time to reflect. If you don't know, you need to understand where it is that your time and energy are going. The next part of it would be prioritization. You need to decide what actually matters to you and then let go of the rest. After that is intentionality. You need to take action that aligns with your purpose and with your long-term goals. If you start to make a practice of doing those things, it can help to renew clarity and re-spark your motivation. And that will leave you with greater productivity and satisfaction, as well as reduce stress and emotional exhaustion. It isn't about doing less. It's about doing the right things with the energy that you do have. If the instrument's out of tune, you have to tune it with small adjustments that make harmony and resonance. Even for me right now, I'm in a position where I absolutely need to man up and cut fat in order to be as streamlined and productive as possible. Because as this is all extracurricular, I certainly don't want to spend the next years of my life miserable. I don't mind being challenged. I don't mind digging in, but I need to be effective and on course. I need to be pursuing steps that align with my primary interests, because all of the shiny object distraction are just that, promising shortcuts and end up being out of the way detours that expend your valuable and finite time and exhaust your energy banks, all which only leads to an inevitable course correction or a crash. Some of the steps to getting yourself back on track will start with answering some tough questions. You need to ask yourself what matters most right now in order to define your core mission and values. Then you need to evaluate what's fueling you versus what's draining you. Then focus in on the high impact tasks that align with your purpose. Delegate or let go of distractions. If you struggle with rest like I do, then we both need to work to treat it as part of the process. It isn't a sign of weakness. You need time to reassess because it isn't a one-time fix. It's a continuous process of refining your focus and energy. So brush yourself off, pick yourself back up. I'm going to do the same. Keep your head up. I'm going to keep mine up. And if you haven't had a chance to hear my new song, you can listen to it here. We'll talk again soon.